Women respect men who do this for them without asking, psychology tricks. A man who is self confident and values himself will always attract the right people into his life. Love and respect are earned, not begged for. Let's face it, men have been misled for years when it comes to understanding women. You've been told that being nice, buying flowers, or constantly pursuing her will win her heart. But here's the harsh truth that many aren't ready to hear: chasing rarely works. In fact, the more you pursue, the more she pulls away. Desperation is not attractive. Women aren't looking for a man who will bend over backward to please them. What truly captivates them is a man who has options, carries himself with confidence, and values himself enough not to seek validation from anyone. That's the man who commands respect, and ultimately, that's the man she wants. The common mistake men make is thinking that winning a woman's affection means playing mind games or pretending to be someone you're not. But the truth is simpler and far more effective. When you understand female psychology and shift your mindset, the dynamic changes. Suddenly, the woman who once seemed uninterested begins to lean in, initiate contact, and can't stop thinking about you. This isn't about being nice. It's about being authentic, understanding the hidden rules that separate the men women chase from the men they tolerate. Once you grasp these principles, attraction will never be the same again. 1. Stop chasing. Start ignoring. Here's a hard truth that most men don't want to hear. The more you chase a woman, the less she respects you. It's counterintuitive, but it's how attraction works. When you're constantly running after her, texting nonstop, checking her social media, and asking for her attention, you're sending a message loud and clear: I have nothing better going on in my life than you. Let's be honest here, nothing is more unattractive than a man who centers his whole life around a woman who hasn't yet earned that spot. Think about it. Humans value what's scarce. If she knows that no matter what she does, you'll always be there running after her, where's the thrill? Where's the chase? She gets bored, and before you know it, she's not interested anymore. She's already in control, and that's when she starts to pull away. Maybe she puts you in the friend zone. Maybe she strings you along while she looks for someone else. But the moment you shift your approach, everything changes. Stop chasing her and start ignoring her just a little. Not because you're trying to be cruel, but because you're reclaiming your value. You need to give less of your time, energy, and attention. This forces her to question, why isn't he chasing me like the others? And that question, my friend, is the game changer. You're no longer the desperate guy who's trying to win her approval. Now, you're the guy she has to figure out. You're the man she has to chase. This isn't about playing games. This is about respecting yourself enough to stop overinvesting in someone who hasn't shown the same effort. Once you stop chasing, she'll have to decide: either step up and give you her attention or risk losing you for good. And let's be real, most women hate losing what they can't control. Imagine this. You meet a woman and hit it off right away. Instead of texting her every hour or dropping everything to see her, you keep living your life. You don't reply instantly because you're busy with your own things. You don't cancel plans with your friends just because she's free. At first, she might act a little annoyed, but deep down, she's intrigued. She starts checking her phone, wondering why you haven't reached out yet. Before long, she's the one sending the first message. Why? Because you stopped chasing and made her realize your attention is not guaranteed. When you master this psychology trick, you stop being just another guy in her inbox. You become the man she has to earn. The power of self-respect. This shift in your behavior sends a powerful message about your value. It shows her that you're not desperate for her approval. You're not going to drop everything just to please her. And this is key in understanding female psychology. Women are naturally attracted to men who respect themselves. Men who are independent, busy with their own lives, and not constantly trying to win her attention. The moment you stop chasing, you give her the chance to pursue you. And trust me, once she starts to chase, the dynamic completely shifts. She sees you as someone who is worthy of her time and effort, and that's what makes her fall in love with you. Stop being available all the time. You must stop being available all the time. The more you're at her beck and call, the less she values you. Don't constantly check your phone for her messages. Don't rearrange your life just to make room for her. When she sees that you have a full, exciting life, she'll be more intrigued and want to be a part of it. And here's the truth: women respect men who have boundaries. They respect men who have lives outside of the relationship. This isn't a trick, it's understanding the psychology of attraction. When you give her space, when you make her work for your attention, you're showing her that you're someone worth pursuing. Conclusion: confidence is key. In the end, the key to getting a woman to respect you is confidence. When you stop chasing, you show her that you're self-sufficient, that you don't need her to complete you. You're the man she has to earn. And that, my friend, is one of the most powerful psychology tricks you can use to get her to fall in love with you. So, stop chasing. Start living your life. Let her chase you. You'll be amazed at how quickly the dynamic shifts, because women respect men who respect themselves first. And when you respect yourself, she'll respect you too. 2. Nice guys repel. Confidence attracts. Let's get real for a moment. There's a bitter truth that many men find hard to swallow. Being the nice guy doesn't make women want you. In fact, it often makes them avoid you. Society has led men to believe that if they're overly polite, agree with everything she says, or treat her like a queen before she's earned it, they'll win her heart. But here's the cold, hard reality: it doesn't work. Being nice without the confidence to back it up actually pushes women away. Why? Because nice without confidence feels like a facade. It feels weak. Women have an instinct for detecting when a man is being nice just to get something from them. And that kind of energy is repulsive. A woman doesn't want a man who is desperate for her approval. She wants a man who already approves of himself. You must understand this. Confidence is what makes kindness attractive. Without it, your niceness is just submission, an attempt to please her for your own validation. A high-value man knows his worth and isn't afraid to show it. He can be kind, generous, and respectful, but he doesn't bend over backwards to seek attention or approval. He has boundaries. He knows when to say no and stands firm in his beliefs. Imagine this scenario. A woman tells you, "I don't date guys who go to the gym. It's too much." The nice guy will likely laugh nervously, agree with her, and pretend that he doesn't like the gym just to impress her. But the confident man? He'll smile, stand his ground, and say, "That's fine, but I love the gym. It keeps me sharp." That's the difference between being a nice guy and being a man with masculine energy. The nice guy hides who he really is, thinking that pretending to be something he's not will win her over. But the confident man? He's unapologetically himself, and that is magnetic. That raw confidence speaks volumes. She respects that. And long after the conversation, she'll be thinking about him. The lesson is clear. Stop trying to be the perfect gentleman who hides his true self. Stop acting like you need to prove your worth to gain her attention. Be confident in who you are, even if it means not everyone will like you. The right woman will respect that. The wrong woman will be drawn to the nice guy who bends over backwards, but she won't desire him. Niceness on its own doesn't spark attraction. Confidence does. Niceness with confidence is incredibly powerful. But niceness without confidence? That's weakness disguised as kindness. Here's the bottom line. If you want to attract women, you must embody masculine energy. Be a high-value man who doesn't need validation. When you live with confidence, your presence will demand respect. Women are attracted to men who are self-assured, men who don't bend for approval but who stand firm in who they are. Remember, confidence is key. Women respect men who respect themselves. So, don't chase after approval. Live authentically and watch as attraction follows. If you find this valuable, like, comment below, and share it with someone who could benefit. Don't forget to subscribe for more wisdom. Comment to remember, I am a confident, high-value man. 3. Scarcity makes you valuable. Let's be clear, scarcity makes you valuable. This is not just a trick of female psychology. It is a timeless truth echoed in Old Stoic wisdom. The Stoics taught that value comes from rarity, and in relationships the same principle applies. Don't be the man who is always available, always saying yes, always dropping everything for her. That is not strength. That is weakness. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have. If you hand her your attention every second without restraint, you strip yourself of power and remove the very mystery that fuels attraction. Scarcity creates desire. It always has. It always will. Think about gold. It is rare, so it is priceless. Water is everywhere, so it is cheap. When something is too easy, it is taken for granted. The same law rules human behavior. When you become too accessible, she stops valuing your presence. When you create space, she leans in. That is Stoicism win. That is Iron Mind discipline in action. Let's bring this into modern life. How many men do you know who answer texts instantly, cancel plans just to be available, or sacrifice their own goals to impress a woman? And how often do those same men complain that they are ignored, ghosted, or left in the friend zone? Don't fall into that trap. Don't hand away your worth. Instead, build your own life so powerfully that your time feels like a prize. That's how you attract women, not by chasing, but by standing firm in who you are. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." In other words, don't worry if she gets frustrated that you're not at her beck and call. Hold your ground, hold your frame, keep your iron mind steady. That is what commands respect. That is what separates the high-value man from the desperate man. Women respect men who are not easy to possess. They crave the challenge, not because they enjoy suffering, but because winning you feels like an achievement. When you are not constantly available, you stir curiosity. She starts to wonder, where is he? Why isn't he chasing me like the others? That curiosity transforms into desire. The truth is simple. If you are always there, you are invisible. If you create space, you become magnetic. Old Stoic wisdom teaches us not to live for the validation of others, but to master ourselves. That mastery radiates power. That power makes you scarce. And that scarcity makes you irresistible. Remember Seneca's words, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." Don't crave her attention, let her crave yours. So the instruction is clear. Be disciplined, be scarce. Don't overgive, don't overexplain, don't chase. Build your world, guard your time, live with an iron mind. Women will respect it because respect always follows strength. Attraction is not about begging for attention, it is about commanding it through presence, purpose, and power. Live by old Stoic wisdom. Practice Stoicism win. Sharpen your iron mind. That is how you stop being ordinary. That is how you become unforgettable. That is how you master life itself. 4. Her attention isn't free. Men, it's time for a hard truth. Her attention is not free. Too many of you act as though a woman's time, her smile, her message, or even her presence is some kind of rare, divine gift. Every glance from her is treated as if it's worth more than gold. But here's the kicker, you're paying for it with your energy, your money, and your self-respect. That mindset is slowly killing you. Let's face facts. Most men fall into this trap. You give everything just to keep her looking your way. You spend money you don't have. You cancel your plans on a whim just because she called. You sacrifice your focus, your goals, your peace of mind, all to get a little bit of attention. But let me ask you, what happens next? You get trapped. You turn into her entertainment, her backup option, the guy she calls when she's bored or in need of an ego boost. And while she keeps you hanging on with crumbs, she's out there giving her real attention to someone else. This is the game, and too many of you don't even realize it. You're paying too much for her attention, and the cost is steep, emotionally, mentally, and even financially. Here's the truth. A woman's attention has value, but only if it's matched by respect and effort on her part. If you're offering her a whole loaf of yourself while she's tossing you a few crumbs in return, you've already lost. So stop treating her attention like it's the ultimate prize. You are the prize. Your energy, your ambition, your presence, those are the things that are truly valuable. When you start recognizing your own worth, things will begin to shift. Think about this. If she isn't putting in the same level of effort, Why are you overworking yourself just to get a smile or a reply? That's desperation, and desperation never attracts respect. The hard truth is that some women will give you just enough attention to keep you around while investing their time and energy into someone else. If you don't see this game, you'll keep chasing her while she's laughing all the way to someone else's arms. Men, you need to draw the line. When you start valuing your own attention, everything changes. You no longer settle for half-hearted efforts. You stop allowing her to waste your time. You stop begging for validation because you've already validated yourself. You stop seeking her approval because you've learned to approve of yourself first. And here's the kicker. When you stop giving her free access to your attention, she'll start fighting for it. She'll begin to put in effort because now your attention is something worth working for. Stop giving away your power. Her attention is not free, so stop paying for it with your dignity. Wake up and make her earn what you've been handing out too easily. When you take control and start valuing yourself, you'll see that women will start valuing you too. The psychology tricks behind female attraction aren't about being nice or playing games. They're about creating a relationship where both parties are equally invested. When you stop acting desperate and start acting like the high-value man you truly are, the dynamic shifts. So, don't be the guy who chases empty validation. Be the man who commands respect through his actions and his self-worth. Recognize your value, stop giving away your attention for free, and watch as the right kind of woman starts to earn your attention instead. If you're tired of being stuck in the cycle of chasing and never getting the respect you deserve, it's time to wake up. Her attention isn't free, and neither is your worth. Stop giving away your energy and self-respect. Comment below, I value my time and attention. I will no longer chase for crumbs. 5. Sexual energy beats sweet words. Women respect men who do this for them without asking. Here's a truth that might surprise a lot of men. Women don't fall for endless compliments, sweet words, or romantic poetry. They fall for energy. Specifically, sexual energy. That unspoken vibe that speaks volumes without you needing to utter a single word. It says, I'm a man and I'm not afraid of desire. Too many men believe that talking their way into a woman's heart is the key. They overuse flattery, send cute messages, and think that being sweet will win her over. Here's the problem with that approach. Sweetness without desire is bland. It's like having all the ingredients for a great dish, but forgetting the spice. It makes you feel more like her safe friend than her potential lover. She may enjoy the attention, but she won't feel the spark that truly ignites attraction. Sexual energy, on the other hand, is magnetic. It's the way you carry yourself, the way you hold eye contact just a beat longer than necessary, the confidence that emanates from your posture, and the certainty in your voice. It's that raw, unapologetic masculine energy that makes her feel your attraction without you having to say a word. Women crave that energy. It's what sets apart the men they like from the ones they can't stop thinking about. Think about this for a second. How many men have you seen stuck in the friend zone, trying to be too polite, too safe, and too gentle? They don't dare show desire, thinking that kindness and sweetness are the way in. But meanwhile, there's the guy who doesn't say much, yet his presence, his confidence, his masculine energy is so palpable that she can't help but be drawn to him. He doesn't beg for attention. He exudes it. Now, let me be clear. Sexual energy is not about being aggressive or disrespectful. It's not about crossing boundaries or forcing anything. It's about embracing your masculinity unapologetically. It's about showing her that you're confident in who you are and that you're not afraid to express your desire. You don't need to hide behind endless compliments or cute messages. Your energy alone should speak for you. Women can sense the difference between fake charm and genuine desire. Sweet words are easy to come by. Anyone can send a text full of emojis and compliments. But not every man can exude that energy, the kind that makes her heart race, the kind that lingers in her mind long after you've left the room. That's the real attraction. That's what makes her chase after you. The moment you stop relying solely on words and start embodying your masculine energy, the dynamic shifts. Suddenly, you're not just another nice guy. You're the man she feels. And when she feels you, she can't ignore you. So, stop hiding behind empty sweetness. Let your energy speak louder than your words. Be a high-value man who attracts women without trying too hard. You don't have to chase when you embody the energy that she craves. The truth is, women want a man who is unapologetically confident in his masculine energy, one who isn't afraid to embrace desire and who doesn't feel the need to beg for attention. That's the kind of energy that makes her feel something she can't ignore. That's the power of real attraction. 6. Options make you powerful. One of the biggest mistakes men make is putting all their energy into one woman, as if she's the only option in the world. That desperation is palpable, and women can sense it immediately. When a man has no options, he clings. He compromises too much, tolerating behaviors he shouldn't. This weakness, unfortunately, kills attraction. The reality is clear: options make you powerful. When you know there are other women out there who would be just as interested in you, you stop behaving like this one woman is your only chance at happiness. You stop begging, overthinking, and tolerating disrespect. Instead, you start acting like a man with standards, and that is undeniably attractive. Think about it. Women can sense when you have options. This isn't about bragging or flaunting. It's about the quiet confidence you carry. When you know you don't need to chase anyone, you walk, talk, and move differently. You're not afraid to walk away, and ironically, that's when she's most likely to want you. On the other hand, when you don't have options, you become overly available. You reply to texts in seconds. You cancel plans to fit her schedule. You start to lose yourself in the process, becoming predictable. She knows she has all the power because you've made her the center of your universe. And that? It's suffocating. It's not attractive. Having options doesn't mean being dishonest or playing games. It means understanding your own worth and never settling for less than respect and genuine interest. Focus on your growth, your lifestyle, and your social circle. Build your life in such a way that you naturally meet women who are drawn to you. As you do this, you will notice that women can feel when they're not the only ones vying for your attention. That scarcity, your value, will make your attention a prized commodity. Let's be real. The man who can walk away is always the most powerful. If she knows you have options, she'll think twice before disrespecting you. But if she knows you don't, she'll treat you however she likes, because she knows you won't leave. This is the cold, hard truth. Stop obsessing over one woman as if she's your entire world. Expand your circle. Build yourself. Live your life. When you have options, you stop chasing and women begin chasing you. Remember this. Old Stoic wisdom teaches us the power of detachment, the strength in self-reliance, and the iron mind that cannot be swayed by fleeting emotions or desperation. A man who has options embodies these principles. So, make your life full, make your life powerful, and watch as the world, especially women, begins to gravitate toward you. At the end of the day, men with options always win. That is the Stoic way. This is how you become a true master of your life. If you want to be a man who attracts respect and admiration, stop chasing and start living your life. Build your options and watch your confidence soar. Comment below, I choose my worth, not desperation. 7. Mystery triggers obsession. If you want a woman to respect you, to truly chase you, then there's one fundamental truth you cannot afford to overlook. Mystery is an absolute game changer. The less she knows about you, the more she will think about you. And the more she thinks about you, the more obsessed she becomes. This is the key, but here's the kicker. When you expose everything about yourself too soon, you ruin the very thing that sparks attraction. Too many men make this mistake. They overshare. They feel compelled to unload their entire life story on the first date. They share every tiny detail of their day through texts. They overshare on social media, giving everyone a play-by-play of their every move. They think this makes them seem open and trustworthy. But in reality, it kills the curiosity that makes her gravitate toward you. Why? Because once she knows everything about you, there's nothing left to discover. And when there's nothing left to figure out, the attraction fades. Women are naturally curious. They have a deep desire to decode, discover, and uncover the layers of who you are. When you're mysterious, you make her work for it. She starts to wonder, where is he? What is he doing? Who is he with? That wondering, that uncertainty, creates tension, and tension breeds attraction. Now, let's be clear. Mystery doesn't mean being distant, cold, or aloof. It doesn't mean playing games to manipulate her emotions. It means holding something back. It means not revealing everything at once. It means letting her experience pieces of you so she's always left wanting more. Think about your favorite TV show. You don't get all the answers in the first episode. Each week, you come back because of the cliffhangers, the mysteries that still need to be unraveled. The same principle applies here. The more mysterious you are, the more she'll crave to know you. She'll replay your conversations in her mind, analyze your behavior, and even test you just to learn more. This creates emotional investment on her part. But when you overshare, there's nothing to analyze. She already has all the answers. There's no need for her to chase. Here's a simple truth. The quiet, confident guy often attracts more attention than the loud, desperate one. His mystery creates an aura that draws her in. She can't quite figure him out, and that makes her leaning closer, wanting to know more. The more she wonders, the more she wants you. Remember, obsession isn't built on certainty. It's built on curiosity. If you give her everything up front, you rob her of the chase, and without the chase, there's no excitement. Master the art of mystery, and you plant yourself deep in her mind. And once you're there, it's hard for her to forget you. Don't be an open book. Be a story she can't stop reading. 8. Validation is weakness. Here's a hard truth that most men are unwilling to face. The moment you seek validation from a woman, you lose your power. When you crave her approval, whether through constant compliments, checking if she likes you, or waiting for her to affirm your worth, you hand over control of the entire dynamic. Nothing kills attraction faster than a man who needs a woman to feel good about himself. Think about it. Every time you ask, "Do you like me?" or fish for reassurance, what you're really saying is, "I'm not enough unless you tell me I am." That, my friend, is weakness. You're telling her you need her to define your value. A man who seeks validation is essentially placing her on a pedestal and hoping to be chosen. But here's the truth. Women don't chase men who put themselves below them. Many men confuse interest with validation. They believe that if she texts back quickly, it means they're valuable. If she compliments them, they think they're worthy. If she doesn't respond, they assume they mean nothing. This mindset is dangerous. It ties your confidence to her mood, her words, and her actions. You become a puppet, and she holds the strings. Real strength, on the other hand, comes from not needing her validation. You must validate yourself. You know your worth, whether she notices it or not. When you stop seeking her approval, something incredible happens. She starts giving it more freely. Why? Because she's drawn to men who don't beg for it. Validation seeking creates pressure. When she senses that you're hanging on her every reaction, she starts to lose interest. But when she feels you're solid, unshaken, and self-assured, she begins to respect you. Respect is what makes her chase. Not pity, not approval, not validation. Respect. Here's where the real power lies, gentlemen. The world has conditioned you to believe that a woman's opinion defines you. But the truth is, a woman respects a man who defines himself. When you stop looking to her to confirm your value, you change the game. You now control the dynamic. She no longer decides if you're good enough. You decide. And when she sees that strength, that unshakable confidence, she can't help but chase it. You've become a high-value man who attracts women, and you didn't have to seek her approval to get there. Stop living for validation and start living for yourself. That's how you embody masculine energy. This is how you command respect and capture attention, not through desperation, but through confidence and self-assurance. If you're ready to take control and stop seeking validation, drop a comment right now. I define my worth. Like this video, subscribe for more unshakable wisdom, and remind yourself daily, true power comes from within. 9. Pull away to pull her in. There's a principle most men get completely wrong. Sometimes the best way to draw a woman closer is by stepping back. This might sound counterintuitive, but it's grounded in Old Stoic wisdom. Attraction is not a force you can manufacture by constantly being in her space. It grows through absence, through the space you create by pulling away. When you step back, she feels your absence, and that's when her curiosity starts to drive her forward. Stoicism win teaches us the power of restraint, knowing when to hold back, to focus on our own journey rather than forcing an outcome. The mistake most men make is smothering a woman with constant attention, flooding her with messages, and making themselves too available. They think that the more energy they pour into the interaction, the more she will respond. But in reality, the more you push, the more she pulls away. Iron Mind means knowing that not everything needs your immediate attention. Real strength lies in knowing how to let go. You've seen it happen. The more you lean in, the further she moves away. Why? Because she feels no need to chase you when you're already giving her everything. Attraction isn't built by giving more than you should. It's built by the tension that comes from what's just out of reach. Pulling away isn't about ghosting her or being cold. It's about removing the pressure and letting her wonder. It's choosing not to text first, focusing on your life rather than obsessing over hers. Stoicism win reminds us that true strength comes from the ability to maintain your ground without constantly proving it. By stepping back, you're showing her that you have a life of your own, that you're not begging for her presence because your purpose isn't tied to hers. People value what they fear losing. When you create space, she feels the gap. She begins to wonder, what are you doing? Why aren't you chasing? Who else has your attention? This wondering creates tension, and tension is the fuel of attraction. The more you step back, the more she'll be driven to step forward. This is the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, understanding the power of your own presence and value without needing to force it. Pulling away also tests her investment. If she's truly interested, she'll close the gap. She'll initiate, she'll try to bring you back. But if she doesn't, that's the answer. She wasn't chasing in the first place. Either way, you win. When you stop chasing, stop clinging, and stop overinvesting, you show that you don't need to force anything. Iron Mind comes from knowing when to act and when to refrain. Your restraint and strength will naturally draw her back toward you. Real strength is knowing when to step back. When you let go, you show confidence, self-control, and value. The more you try to hold on, the more she feels that neediness. Stoicism win teaches us the paradox. The less you try to hold on, the harder she will try to hold on to you. So, stop chasing, stop clinging, and stop overinvesting. Pull away just enough to let her move toward you. Sometimes, silence speaks louder than words. Sometimes, distance builds more desire than closeness. Learn the art of pulling away and watch as she has no choice but to pull you back in. 10. Control yourself. Control her desire. When it comes to attracting and keeping the attention of women, the ultimate secret is control. It may sound simple, but it's one of the most powerful psychology tricks in the game. The truth is, most men lose their chance not because women reject them, but because they can't control themselves emotionally, verbally, or physically. They overreact, become jealous too quickly, beg for attention, or explode when things don't go as planned. Every time a man loses control, he loses respect, and once respect is gone, so is desire. Women are constantly testing men, sometimes unconsciously. They want to see if you can stay calm under pressure, if you can keep your frame when things don't go your way. The moment you crack, when you chase harder, blow up her phone, or act insecure, she knows she has control over you. And the man she controls is never the man she desires. Control is magnetic. When you can control your emotions, you appear stable and unshakable. When you control your attention, it shows that you're not desperate for her time or approval. And when you control your sexual energy, you demonstrate discipline and self-control, traits that women find incredibly attractive. This level of control distinguishes you from the majority of men who are led by their emotions and impulses. Think about the times you've seen men lose control, whether it's jealousy, anger, or obsession. Did they look attractive or did they look weak? Women don't chase men who are slaves to their feelings. They chase men who remain calm, grounded, and in control, no matter what the circumstances are. This doesn't mean you should become emotionless, far from it. It means you need to master yourself first. Be the man who doesn't get thrown off by a late reply. Be the man who doesn't need to prove himself through outbursts or begging. Be the man who can walk away without flinching when respect is missing. That kind of self-control is rare, and as we all know, what's rare is always desired. The man who can control himself controls the dynamic. He sets the pace and the standard, and by doing so, he forces her to rise to meet him. When she sees that level of strength, she will naturally be drawn to it. It's not about playing games, it's about setting boundaries and showing confidence in your own worth. Women respect men who know their value and are not willing to sacrifice it for temporary validation. Mastering yourself, emotionally and mentally, is the key to mastering the game. The man who loses control of himself will always lose her in the end. But the man who controls himself controls the entire dynamic, and that's the kind of man that women desire. Psychology tricks like these are rooted in female psychology. Women want a partner who exhibits self-discipline, strength, and confidence, qualities that can only be achieved through self-mastery. When you become the man who leads by example, who is not easily swayed by external circumstances, you will naturally attract the attention and respect of women. And remember, mastering your emotions, your actions, and your desires is the key to mastering love and relationships. When you can remain calm, collected, and in control, you show her exactly why she should chase you, not the other way around. In short, the way to win a woman's respect is simple: control yourself, control her desire. If you want to be the man women chase, start by mastering your own emotions and actions. The rest will follow naturally. To wrap this up, I want to leave you with something to reflect on. We've been taught all our lives that real men pursue, that persistence leads to love, and that you should chase after her. But here's the truth: women respect the man who makes them chase, not the one who chases endlessly. If you've been running after someone, begging for attention, or sending texts nonstop, remember that behavior doesn't create attraction. It weakens you in their eyes. Instead, value yourself. Stop chasing. Become the kind of man who women have to chase, and you'll notice the difference. These are the men who are unforgettable, who women can't stop thinking about. They don't beg, they don't chase. They demand respect and create desire by being confident in who they are. So, here's my advice. Take a step back, look at your life, and ask yourself, are you the one chasing, or are you the one being chased? If you don't like the answer, it's time to make a change. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below sharing your experience. When did you chase? When did you stop? And how did it change things? I'm reading every comment and can't wait to connect with you. This isn't just about content, it's about building a conversation. So let's get real, let's connect, and let's wake up together. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.